Thinking about the Rams and Buccaneers, it is at Tampa. People, for whatever reason, want to keep saying that, Tom Brady is struggling and that sort of thing. And it's like, he is really not struggling. You're talking about, look at just the stats here. It's like he's got 2267 yards with 9 TDs and 1 pick. I'm pretty sure that's like the least amount of picks out of any starter in the league. And 22 and a half, 50 yards plus, it's like at this point in the season is really good. And then you look at a guy like Stafford, who it's like is competing but is throwing a ton of picks just like last year. I don't know what it is about him being a Ram, but whatever happened to Stafford not being a turnover machine. I don't ever remember him being a turnover machine when he was with the Lions. It's really bizarre. I don't know how to explain it. Because he's one of those quarterbacks that I always, would say that it's like he can throw it sidearm really well. He's not the most mobile guy, but even had a rushing touchdown last week where he faked out the defense. It's like, and he's not the youngest. He's never been that much of a runner. He's always been known as like a very precision passes with a big arm. He has a really big arm, but it's like he doesn't really have a blazer. Has never really had a blazer besides Megatron, who you don't even think as a blazer, because of his height at wide receiver. But he's getting it done with this team. And the thing that I'll say about the Buccaneers that's killing them is that Fournette cannot rush for anything. Fournette is having a very dog water year. I will say it. I think Fournette, I don't know how to explain it with them. Maybe it's because of their O-line being shaken up. Maybe it's the fact that they lost their center before the year. I have no idea. But every time I watch any Buccaneers tape on offense, you're seeing Brady still nailing these throws, putting them in spots where it's like he fit it in there. And he's got a really good supporting cast. He's obviously got Mike Evans. He's obviously got Godwin back. He's got, Cameron Brate is a pretty serviceable tight end. Not anything super exceptional, but catches the ball a lot. The defense of Tampa Bay, I don't really know what to think of. Some games they look really stout, and others they've just looked, not that good. Not that good. Obviously against Baltimore, they were ahead of Baltimore. Baltimore came back in this game. And then it's like the fact that they just got, they lost to Pittsburgh and they lost to Carolina, 2 teams that it's like many were saying were giveaways to the Buccaneers. And it's like, and then it's like not far removed from that. It's like they beat, Atlanta and held Atlanta to 15. 15 for Atlanta is a low amount this year. They've been scoring a lot. And then it's like the last game that you think about that, they played a really, really good team besides Baltimore was Kansas City, who they obviously, Kansas City kind of handed it to them. Maybe it was like a knock to their system that this game that it's like, oh, maybe we aren't even that good anymore. Because, yeah, it was only a 10-point difference, but it's like Kansas City, they let them score at the end of this game. They did not care because Kansas City it was so well in hand. They were too far ahead. Type of thing. And then you got the Rams, the former Super Bowl champs. They lost a good amount in the offseason. The Von Miller blow really, I think, killed them. Aaron Donald, to me, is a really good player, but he gives me the vibe that he is not that good of a leader. And when you don't have leadership on defense, it can be really hard for you to believe and for you to, start having consistency and leadership and someone who's going to, get you through the tough times on defense. You just look at the Rams. It's like the loss to San Fran was fat. Dallas, they got, they're just getting outperformed week in and week out. And I think beating Carolina doesn't really show too much. This was against, this was when they still had Matt Rule as their coach and weren't performing. And beating Arizona, another inconsistency that I've been saying, it's like, but they got handed it to them by San Fran. San Fran did just about anything they wanted to the Rams. It's like Christian McCaffrey even had some runs up the middle for positive gains. And I wouldn't say that against any any team with Aaron Donald on the interior of their defense, it's like I would never say that it's like a team's going to be able to run up the middle. It's like I don't care how gifted Christian McCaffrey is. It's Aaron Donald we're talking about. But they've had a really banged up kind of offense too. I know Van Jefferson was out at the beginning of the year. He's, I guess, questionable again. And it's been rough. I was telling people before the year, I think the Rams, there's like hardly any chance for them to repeat this year. The division they're in, let me see here, it's like is close, but Seattle is the clear winner at this point. San Fran is definitely the only threat that I think can contend with Seattle. With the recent additions they've gotten a little bit stronger with the addition of Christian McCaffrey, assuming he stays healthy. And you got Arizona that it's like can't be consistent. They finally got D-Hop back. But that obviously hasn't guaranteed that they beat teams. But yeah, looking at this game, I mean, the Rams and Tampa Bay's got a lot better of a shot, in their division, to win with, the division leader in Atlanta being 4-4, which I think Tampa Bay, it's like if they get their business together, they can beat Atlanta, later in the year. So I am going to go with Tampa because I think that the Rams' pass D is honestly kind of bad, I mean, last week it's like they had Leonard Floyd got his first 2 sacks of the year, against San Fran, and it's like it didn't even matter. San Fran just shook it off and still beat them by, twice their points. But yeah, I am going to go with Tampa Bay. But I personally think that it's like if Brady can't stay on his feet, which he has had sack issues this year, and it's like the Rams, the one thing I will say is that they still have a pretty decent pass rush. If he doesn't have that much time, then it's going to cause problems. But I think that, they're just going to be able to pick apart the Ram defense because their pass defense has looked abysmal. I'm talking about football. But looking at this game, sorry, my chat kind of interrupted me. But looking at this game, I think that, the Rams don't have the firepower. That's just what I'll say. I think that that's another problem that they have is that they don't have anybody besides Kupp. And Kupp's having a good year, but it's really not hard when, the rest of your wide receivers and tight ends, it's like aren't going to do much. So I think that Tampa Bay does win this game, and I'm going to say Tampa Bay by 7.